I'm Kate.
And I'm Jamie, and this is Creeps and Coffee,
A show where we talk about the creepiest crime cases around the world.
So, let's grab some coffee
and have a chat. Hello again.
Hi.
One of us has had coffee. The other is drinking a smoothie.
I was gonna say, that was very lackluster on mine.
Guess which is which. Welcome back to another fantastic episode of Creeps and Coffee. I'm excited about this one. It's a little bit different than... What? You need to put some pep in your step, kiddo.
Okay.
Jamie's upset because I've been singing Lips of an Angel at her. Not to her, at her. For probably 15 minutes.
I was yelling at her to stop as well, but I didn't realize that I'd muted my own microphone, so she couldn't hear me.
That's not on me, so I just kept singing.
But you can't sing it now, because you don't want to get DMCA'd, or it might be DMCA'd. Or whatever. So please just don't.
Alright, you win this time.
I planned this.
Well, how are you, Jame?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
I'm always put on the spot with that question because I'm like, am I? Am I really?
That's fine.
Am I okay? I think. We're going to say tentative yes, but I'll get back to you.
Perfect.
How are you?
Tentative yes as well.
Anyway.
Well, we hope you guys are doing also a tentative good. Perhaps a more permanent good.
Preferably.
Preferably you're doing better. I'm excited to finally be doing another paranormal episode this week. We've been doing...
What was our first paranormal?
Halifax Haunts.
Oh, yeah!
Mm-hmm.
Going back to our roots.
Arguably one of our more popular episodes.
I think the most popular, actually. So maybe we need to do more of these.
I agree.
Spooky, haunted, ghost, paranormal...
See, Jamie wanted to focus on conspiracy theories when we started this. I wanted to focus on ghosts.
I think we found a happy pattern.
I think we have, but...
Even if it's one I kind of forced you to do.
And you know what? It's fine. I've embraced it.
I just like having a variety. Like, one paranormal, one conspiracy, one true crime, and then I'll let Caitlin throw in an idea, and then we go back to true crime, back to paranormal. Because, I literally have 17 pages now of ideas.
I think I've added 4. Not pages, 4 ideas. But today...
Yeah, maybe I need to have my own podcast.
Wow.
Just kidding.
Today's episode is going to be kind of a combination of all the things we like to do. I get to throw in some history and some educational aspects of it. But we're also obviously going to talk about some spooky stories. So we've had a lot of interest ourselves in sort of the ghosty paranormal realm of the world. Jamie and I have both had our own personal experiences that I'm sure we'll talk about one day.
Absolutely.
But that's really got us into kind of studying this stuff on our own and talking about it and doing more research on it. And we thought, why not bring that to Creeps and Coffee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, my brain is working a lot slower than yours is. So I approached Caitlin with the idea of Hauntings 101. Those were my literal words. Please. I know I slurred that. I promise I'm not drunk right now.
Yeah, well, that'll wait until after the show.
But yeah, so we focused today on different types of hauntings, different types of ghosts, and just going through all of them.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that people don't really realize when talking about the paranormal. Is like, there's so many different...
A ghost!
Oh my god!
Quick, which one is it?
I don't know! But people don't really realize that when you're talking about ghosts, there's so many... And this sounds so stupid. But, like, there's so many different things it could be. There's not just like, oh, it's a ghost. Like there's so many different like origins and interactions and experiences that come out of different ghost stories. So we thought it would be really cool to kind of take a look at what those different types of hauntings could be.
Even though I'm not like 100% believer, all of these make sense to me. They all check out, and I'm like, valid point, valid point, valid point. So you don't even have to believe in ghosts to enjoy this episode.
Exactly.
Just come along for the ride. And if anything, this can help you identify different ghostly activities in movies and TV shows.
Precisely.
So you can look like an expert with your friends at the movies next and be like, see, that's a demonic thing, you see?
There you go. And your friends will be like, wow, where'd you learn that? And you can be like, Hauntings 101.
I actually really enjoy the idea of this one. Well, the concept of it anyway. The first one I'm going to discuss is called the residual haunting. Also known as the stone tape theory, but I'll get into that in a second. So, residual hauntings occur when something very dramatic happens, whether it's a positive or a negative experience. It's something that apparently gives off a lot of energy. So this energy is apparently imprinted, and it sort of plays as a record, or like a, what are they called?
Tape.
VHS tape?
Yeah.
Yeah, tape. So these often happen with traumatic events, unfortunately, like when people are brutally murdered. But it can also happen with like parties and stuff. So examples of residual hauntings, good ones, you could be in an old apartment building and hear some music or singing and dancing. Those could be residual hauntings from like a masquerade ball that happened on the property 200 years ago. Or, unfortunately, if it's a traumatic one, it could be you seeing like a child in the closet who's screaming and crying, and it's like, whoa. Why? But unfortunately you can't interact with them, and you can't really help them because
it's basically
they're just going on like a record.
Yeah, it's basically an imprint of the emotions.
Yeah. And so like that's kind of what the stone tape, is that the word? Yeah, stone tape theory is. It is the idea that ghosts are like only tape recordings, and they're like projected forms of energy. And they replay, and unfortunately you can't really fix it. And they call it that because it's like a non-interactive movie, which sucks.
Well, I really like that because it's not perceived as like a ghost being stuck reliving the day over and over.
Yeah,
it's just like,
that would be way worse.
Yeah, it's just basically like
if they're conscious.
Yeah, but it's basically...
Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
God damn it! No, it's basically just an imprint of the emotion in that moment. So like Jamie said, if it's like a really fancy masquerade ball and you hear the voices of all of these people in a crowd, it's not everyone dancing for the rest of eternity, but it's an imprint of that emotion. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of calming to me and like peaceful for me to think that experiences and emotions aren't sort of one-time things in life. And I think that's what the stone tape theory focuses on, just that these experiences and these emotions are making an impact not just in the moment but on the world as a whole.
Yeah.
No matter what happens in the future, those experiences and those sort of memories are always going to be there.
Yeah. I think a really good example of this is actually in The Shining. Because I don't know if anyone's familiar with The Shining, but I hope you are.
It's a really unpopular film.
Yeah, you may not know it.
Very indie,
But a lot of the times the main character will hear music, and then he goes to the quote-unquote bar to get drinks and stuff. But none of that's real. It's from history. It's from the past at that hotel. And he's just experiencing it now because it was so strong. And unfortunately that makes sense for a lot of hauntings as well that are scary. Because if I get brutally murdered, yeah, you bet I'm not going to enjoy it, and you're going to see my ghost forever, because I'm not going down happily. My ghost is going to be bitter.
Yeah.
And yeah, everybody's going to know about it. I'm a Leo. We're all going to have the problem.
Stupid. You know...
Excuse you?
Nothing? I think my favorite part about doing research for this was actually getting the chance to look at real life examples of some of these hauntings. And I think one really well-known example is from the Winchester Mystery House.
Oh, yeah.
So, first of all, what a cool place. Like, we absolutely have to do an episode on the Winchester House at some point.
Yep.
But for those of you who don't know, the Winchester Mystery House is this building in San Jose, California, which is in the US. And it's basically this just like super haunted piece of, I wouldn't even call it a home, piece of art that was built under instruction from a woman named Sarah Winchester, who was part of the family responsible for Winchester rifles. Long story short, obviously, can't go into full details with everything because it's a huge story in and of itself. But she apparently was haunted by ghosts or spirits of a lot of people who had been killed using Winchester rifles, sort of bad luck coming back onto the family. And it's believed that these spirits were talking to her and telling her that in order to keep herself safe, keep her family safe, whatever the case may be, or to sort of like repay the lives that had been lost because of her family, she needed to keep building and never stop building this house. So she hired this huge group of men to basically build these blueprints based on whatever these spirits were telling her. So there's rooms that go to nowhere and stairs that lead to nowhere and like doors that open to nothing. Like, it's a mess of a place, but
really cool.
Oh, so
kind of dangerous.
So interesting. And I believe it's a museum now, or like not a museum, but like a tourist site. So you can book tours of the Winchester home.
I've seen people on YouTube go through it, and it looks so cool.
Yeah, and even from just a historical perspective, if you're not into the haunted side of it, it's fascinating to look at the architecture of the home and like how things have sort of developed and how modern some of the stuff was. But basically, the Winchester house is super haunted. Like there's no way to avoid that. But a really good example of a residual haunting in that home comes from, they believe it's a former worker named Clyde. So Clyde was one of the people that worked directly for Sarah Winchester in doing a lot of the grounds work, a lot of the maintenance within the home. So there is this ghost that's often seen in the grand ballroom, because every house in that time period needed a grand ballroom. You know, I think more houses need ballrooms. Anyway, I want a ballroom. That's a whole other conversation. So the ballroom in the basement, there's this ghost that's seen a lot, either working on the fireplace or pushing a wheelbarrow around that's filled with ash or coal, still doing this work that he loved to do. But anyone who's ever seen who they believe is Clyde can't interact with him, he won't respond to his name. He walks through walls, but he's just routinely doing the same thing. And that's sort of a prime example of what a residual haunting is. This is a man who spent a large portion of his life at this home, doing something that he obviously cared about doing. And his experience there and his emotions within the Winchester home left that sort of psychical imprint, I guess, which I think is just really cool. And it's not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
So.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I just think that's a cool little tidbit.
Yeah. And I think that that's something that a lot of people probably misunderstand, including me before I did the research, is that it's not them, like, reliving these traumatic events or anything. Oftentimes.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, oh, you've done something every single day of your life. Like, that's what the energy you put into the universe, that's what you're gonna leave behind.
There's,
like your footprint in the dirt of the universe.
Precisely.
Am I high?
There's another quick example of the... Jamie's gonna roll her eyes, and I know this in advance. Oh. The captain of the Titanic, his childhood home is believed to be haunted, but with a residual spirit. It's supposed to be him as a child. Oh. So, obviously, he passed away. He went down with the ship when Titanic sank. So, you would think...
I almost said good.
You would think that if there was going to be, like, a spirit coming from that event, it would be him as an adult reliving, obviously, this huge disaster. But it's believed that, like, in his last moments, or when he realized things were not going to go the way that they had been planned, a lot of his emotions went towards his childhood home and his happy experiences in that home, which would have left an emotional imprint there. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah, and
I mean, it sucks that he died.
Terrible, but the people that own the home say, like, they hear this, like, little kid running around and they can't interact with him. They've seen him, but he doesn't respond to anything. But it's that same sort of thing. It's that emotional image that's left, and I think...
See, I still can't deal with that. If I see a ghost kid running through my hallway at night, I'm still moving out and trying to kick it.
I'd be done. Well, one of my really good friends, I was talking to him about, like, hauntings and stuff. And he was like, yeah, my apartment was built in, like, the 1600s. So, super haunted. And I was like, well, that's on you. Like, you decided.
Yeah, my parents' house was... They bought it, and it's over 150 years old. Yeah. And I was like, guys, that's actually something I want to get into a different time.
Oh, yeah.
They have told me so many stories. It is for sure haunted.
But it's... The longer a place has been around, the more emotion that goes into it. Like a theater, an opera house, places where... We talked about it in Halifax Haunts with the ghost light on the stage.
Yeah.
Places that have big emotional events and have been around long enough to experience those big emotional events. Hotels, boats, stuff like that is all going to have a higher likelihood of a residual haunting because it's exposed for a prolonged period of time to a prolonged amount of emotion.
Well said.
Thank you. I like ghosts. Something about talking about Titanic really got my brain. For those of you who are not Jamie and can't see me right now, I'm sitting here in a Titanic hoodie.
That's what that says? Oh, it does. I thought it was a university hoodie. That's worse.
And I'm not sorry about it.
Can I move on?
Please, before you get mad at me and cause a residual haunting of this experience.
So, before I move on to the next type of haunting, I did want to just mention something that I thought was kind of interesting as well. I don't know how to say it.
Psychometry.
Do you know how to say it? Okay, you said it. Psychometry.
Because I knew as soon as I read it, you were not
Good. I was going to say psychotemetry. Psychometry. This is the idea that you can learn about a person or place by touching an object connected to the person or place.
That gives me chills.
And I thought that was similar to residual hauntings because I've seen, like, videos of it. I don't know if they're real, but where, like, clairvoyants will touch, like, an old pocket watch and be like, oh, David Johnson was a farmer and he spent all his money on this one thing before he tragically died. And it's like, that's so cool. If you can actually see that stuff or feel it, that's amazing. I want to do that.
This idea of psychometry and of place memory is where we get the term the stone tape theory.
Yeah.
So stone tape theory being another name for a residual haunting, because the person who developed it believed that going back to these like old buildings and like cobblestone streets, being able to touch the stones and have that hands-on experience like place memory, that the stones would absorb the energy and the emotions of the experience. So that's exactly where it's coming from. And I think, like, on a personal note, I think that's part of the reason that I love visiting historical places. Like, you guys know by now, I like history. I think it's a cool thing. And poor Jamie has been dealing with it for 15 years. But I think...
Yeah, what 7-year-old do you know who's like, do you want to go to the Titanic Museum for my birthday?
And she never did. She would never go with me.
I was 7.
It's okay, I went for my 14th birthday instead. Anyway, but I don't think Jamie realized, like, what my thought process was sort of connected to the place memory thing until we were in Europe together. Like, think about going to the Roman theater and, like, the Colosseum and walking in there and really feeling like, okay, Napoleon stood in the spot where I stood. And like,
yeah, that part gave me goosebumps
like,
when you were explaining.
Exactly. Oh, I get so hyped up about history.
I got it now.
Exactly. But that feeling is exactly what place memory is, and these residual hauntings are focused on. And I just think it's so cool. Anyway,
yeah,
I'll stop.
I kind of forgot about that. No, it's okay.
I'll stop geeking out before I embarrass myself in front of 400 people.
Too late. Hey, says me, I'm stuttering and slurring my words, and I'm barely conscious, so...
That's my girl.
You can't do worse. Shall I move on to the next?
I think we should. Any questions, class, on residual hauntings? There will be a test at the end.
50% of your grade.
Yeah.
Poltergeists. This one, I'm pretty sure everyone knows.
But do you really?
The poltergeist activity. Yeah, let me explain. Poltergeist literally comes from the German word meaning noisy spirits.
And I love that.
I thought was cute.
I love that the Germans were
I
like,
knew you'd
God,
like that.
Spirits are so
noisy
annoying.
Spirits. And apparently, history, Caitlin, dates poltergeists back to ancient Rome.
I studied
so
at
they've
the
been around
university.
forever. And some examples of some activity you'd get with a poltergeist haunting would be loud knocks or bangs, furniture literally moving on its own. There have been cases of furniture flying at people, like chairs.
So you know how when you're playing The Sims, when a ghost shows up on your lot and it goes into your fridge and it makes it float and then it breaks it? Poltergeist.
Yeah. Exactly. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
I
was excited about
and
that.
Apparently, I can see it in your face. This activity, once it starts, apparently it will get more and more intense because it feeds off of fear. It can also make voices, do full body apparitions of like people.
I don't like that.
It's been said to make beds shake, which I do not like at all. And yeah, they're one of the rarest types of hauntings, thank God. So you see them a lot in movies and stuff, but not a lot in real life, at least that people can prove.
And I think that's interesting that they're probably the most well-known sort of, like, if you think about a ghost, you think, like, the movie Poltergeist, like...
Exactly.
You think of this sort of presence that's like moving things and throwing things, but that's the least likely thing to happen.
Yeah.
So why is it portrayed the most?
Because it's the most entertaining. Apparently.
Interesting.
Another thing that I wanted to let us question and talk about was, I was doing research. By the way, thank you to haunteddoc.com. I really liked their lists of stuff, so I was looking at their stuff. But when I was doing my research, someone had written most poltergeist activities occur around females in their teen years because they may unknowingly control the energy around herself. What's that supposed to mean? You think teenage girls are so emotionally unstable they would cause a poltergeist activity? Like, I feel like, yes, that can be true, but that feels misogynistic if it was written by a man. So I literally put, is this misogynistic?
As someone who was a teenage girl, I take offense to it, but I'm also like, yeah.
Like, that makes sense, but hey.
Exactly.
Excuse you.
Yeah.
Not your place. It's not always the case.
I would also like to point out, from personal experience, people do not talk enough about how not in control of emotions teenage boys are.
Yeah. Society has told us that doesn't matter.
Girls may have periods, but boys deal with testosterone, and they do not know how to handle it.
They're like, should I shotgun 3 beers and then smash my head against a car window?
Absolutely.
Yes. Why do I have a headache? I don't know, Kyle. Why do you have a headache? I don't know why I have a vendetta. Anyway.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Men. So, poltergeist activities, I guess, can sometimes be caused by emotional instability, but it can also happen around stable people. Shocker. But
I know what that's like.
These are the most diverse and unique, so it really doesn't matter who lives in, like, a residence. It could suddenly pop up with a poltergeist activity. That's the thing. Sometimes these come out of nowhere. No reasoning, no background, no history in the house. They also will disappear. Just as they came, no reasoning, no background, you didn't have to solve anything.
Sounds like a man.
Which I don't like, because it's like you can't really do anything. I think there's only one thing that people of, the ghost researchers have said can fix it, is that if you can understand why it's there, like if it's following a specific person. I think, like, if you've seen the movie Insidious, there's demonic activity, which is different, but they're all towards this one kid who's in a coma-like trance, so they're following him. They moved houses, but the ghost still followed. So it could very much be the same.
I only saw the last Insidious.
Oh, the first one's so good.
Well, I didn't realize there were other Insidious movies.
Oh.
And the whole film, I was like, who are these people? Why is this happening? And then...
It would definitely help to watch the first 4.
Yeah, it sure would. That's just a fair warning for all of our movie buffs that listen.
I'll make you watch it, don't worry.
Oh, God. Anyway.
But, yeah. Do you have anything you want to add about poltergeists?
Boy, do I.
All right, let's hear it.
So, like we said, a lot of poltergeist portrayals are in films. We talked about... I feel like this episode is going to have a lot of callbacks to previous episodes. We talked about
sorry.
the movie Poltergeist in our Haunted Films episode, and how kind of crazy that set was and the experiences were for the people on that film, unfortunately. But there's a lot of cases that the film took inspiration from and real experiences that people had. And I thought a really good example of poltergeist activity was in a case from Enfield, which is in North London, which is obviously in the UK. not London, Ontario, which is a whole other ballgame. So this Enfield poltergeist case centers around the daughter of a woman named Peggy Harper, who was a recently divorced woman moving in with her 2 children, sort of living on her own for the first time. So I feel terrible for this woman because obviously she does not need the added stress of a poltergeist on top of being newly single.
Which is the equivalent of having triplet boys.
Yeah.
That energy.
Exactly. But yeah, so Peggy moved into this home in Enfield with her 11-year-old daughter Janet and her 10-year-old son Pete. And not long after they moved into this home, the kids started complaining that their beds were jolting up and down. Which,
I know.
Yeah,
I can't.
that's a big fat no on my part.
I literally sleep on the floor because bed frames scare me.
That's completely fair. So the kids were like, Mom, you need to, like, they were screaming, their beds are moving, but every time Peggy came into their rooms, it would stop. So she was like, okay, it's kids being kids, like maybe they watched horror movies when I wasn't around.
Gaslighting!
Exactly. Peggy was kind of like, okay, I'll pay attention, see if anything else happens, but go back to bed. So this happened a couple more times, and eventually it turned into the whole house hearing shuffling noises and then knocks on the wall, which is disturbing enough. But one night, a full chest of drawers pushed itself across the floor in front of a door. And Peggy was like, yeah, nope, I'm getting out of here immediately. So Peggy grabbed Janet and Pete and went to their neighbor's house and said, I think someone's in the house. I heard this, like, Chesterfield be pushed. Obviously, if anyone knows the size of a Chesterfield, typically, it's large, it's heavy. So it's not going to move by itself. So she goes to the neighbors. The neighbors go, one of them goes over to check while the other stays with Peggy and the kids and calls the police. So while the neighbor is there, he hears all these noises. While the police are there, they hear all these noises and write a police report saying there's noises coming from within the house. No people were seen, but, like, the police are like, oh God, there's something here. Eventually, after more of this stuff happened, Maurice Grosse, who was a member of the Society for Psychical Research and a sort of horror writer, I don't know if his name is Guy or Guy, because growing up on the East Coast, it could be pronounced either way. But his last name is Playfair, so that's just what I'm going to call him. So Grosse and Playfair investigated this case for about 2 years. For the Society of Psychical Research to get involved, that's a big deal, especially in the UK. They're probably the lead, I guess, haunted researchers. So, big deal. They both heard knocks, they heard scratches, they heard and saw furniture moving. They both witnessed things moving, and they both had things thrown at them. This also meant that they saw really small outbreaks of fire happening that would put themselves out. So seemingly random combustion and then fizzling out. This is a really common thing that happened also in the Sally house, if you guys know anything about that story. It's also something we'll definitely cover one day.
Yeah.
So eventually the spirit ended up revealing itself through Janet. So used Janet as a voice box, I guess. Revealed itself as a man named Bill, who had died in the house. Records showed that there was a man named Bill who had died in that same house. So there was no way Janet would have known that. She's an 11-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Super, super weird case. Obviously, there's inconsistencies and, like, you could go into more details about the skeptical side of things, but I just thought it was a really interesting example of a poltergeist case that is obviously affecting this family. Playfair actually ended up writing a book on this case, very aptly called This House is Haunted. Which
riveting title.
I liked it.
Not wrong, though.
No, right to the point. But yeah, so even though this is a really rare phenomena, it's probably one of the scariest things I can imagine.
Yeah. I'd prefer residual over poltergeist.
It seems like so many of these poltergeist cases happen in the UK. And I don't like that.
Yeah, the UK feels very haunted. Europe seems very haunted.
Accurate.
Well, because everything, a lot of the buildings and stuff are still taken care of and are old. Meanwhile, in Canada, they're like, let's tear down this historic building and put up a Taco Bell.
Oh, don't even get me started.
I'll move on then.
Anyway, any questions about poltergeists?
No.
Amazing.
Demonic activity. Self-explanatory. Next. Just kidding. So, I guess to sort of start, what is a demon?
That's a big question.
Yeah. I guess if you believe in God and heaven and Christianity and stuff, basically demons are like cast out angels?
Yeah.
Isn't that correct term?
I think so. You would have to ask someone who is...
Yeah. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, email us. Satan was also an angel at one point, and
yes,
him and God clashed, and they were like, get out of here. So then they kicked Satan and I think a third of the angels out of heaven, and so then they came down to earth and apparently wreak havoc. And I'm going straight into science. Apparently, we're talking about Einstein here. E equals mc squared. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but the idea is that energy can be converted into matter and matter into energy. And so the idea is that these demons who were once in heaven have been converted into matter because they were pure energy and now they're matter form, and so they can cause mischief.
Sure.
I guess. I'm not an expert. Don't quote me on that.
What I know...
Can you explain it better?
They're scary.
Okay.
Done.
Thank you. And yeah, much like poltergeists, demonic hauntings and demon occurrences and appearances are not very likely. And when they do appear, they are very serious. You can get injured, and apparently you can die and stuff.
And they're very similar to poltergeist hauntings as well.
Yes. I have a couple of different examples of some demonic hauntings, because they can take a few different forms. So, apparently, they can form as like a black mist or a fog, which...
I don't like that.
If you see that, whatever it is, run away, because that's either a ghost, a demon, or something you don't want to breathe in chemical-wise. Run. Yeah, and apparently they have this stench of sulfur, which I've heard a lot about. I don't know what sulfur smells like, but apparently it's got a very strong, like, acidic...
I know what it smells like. It smells like rotten eggs.
Oh, ew.
Yeah.
Sorry, I farted.
Disgusting.
I don't like that at all.
I remember in my, it's probably, my 8th grade science class, we were learning about, elements. And my teacher was handing out different, rocks and crystals, and he passed around this piece of sulfur, and the entire classroom smelled like rotten eggs. And I was like, why? You couldn't have just told us? I was like, now it smells like rotten eggs all day.
Just, hand out aluminum or something.
Exactly.
Not sulfur. But yeah, so apparently that's a very common smell. Or rotting flesh. Nice, pleasant perfume smells. And apparently they can push, hit, and scratch, which you've probably seen a lot in movies and TV shows, is scratching on people's bodies. And the temperature can change drastically. Usually becoming colder, but sometimes it'll get hotter in a room, which I would not enjoy, because my stomach would drop. And my bladder would empty. And anyway. The next, apparently, are just, you were right, scary looking ones. The ones that look like exactly what demons look like. Creepy, red face, tail, horns, whatever. Goat head sometimes.
Krampus.
Yeah. You heard it here, folks. Yeah, and apparently they do this to scare you. I again, these ones feed off of fear and stuff as well. Or, little plot twist, they can appear as angels.
Ooh.
They can appear angelic and beautiful, and they will try to manipulate a person into committing a sinful act.
Also sounds like a man.
Or doing something they wouldn't usually do. Oh, you're very feminist tonight. I love it. And yeah, so they use these different scare tactics to apparently break down a person's free will and make them so vulnerable so that they can possess them. Their goal is possession, which I hate. I hate possessions. Not like material girl, like possessions. like
I would not
Emily
like...
Rose.
Mm-hmm.
No?
There's a really great book. I'm trying to think of what it's called. Siren Call of Hungry Ghosts.
A what?
So there's this book. It's called The Siren Call of Hungry Ghosts. And it is basically about... Well, I won't give it away because I think everyone should read it because it is incredible. But basically about the possibility of demons disguising themselves as these positive things and preying on the vulnerable emotions. So if you're interested in learning more about that, Siren Call of Hungry Ghosts.
Okay.
Just saying.
Thank you. Yeah. And apparently demons and demonic activity are super strong. And there have been alleged cases where people have literally been thrown like rag dolls in the air and like attacked. Which would hurt. So
yeah, well, I think
that's not fun.
I think that's my distinguishing difference between poltergeist and demonic activity is that I feel like ghosts have this rule that they like can't actually hurt you. Like you never hear of people being like hurt by a ghost.
They just want to scare and annoy you.
Exactly, because they feed off the fear. Whereas anytime I hear about like a demonic interaction, it's like,
I'm going to push you down the stairs.
Yeah, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm clumsy enough as is. I don't need a demon to push me downstairs.
Maybe that's why you are clumsy.
Fuck.
You got a little demon on your back saying,
damn it.
Trip. Stub your toe.
God, it makes so much sense.
Yeah, and apparently these demonic figures can also destroy religious, not paraphernalia. Is that the word I'm looking for? Just out of spite and to be mean, which, hey, don't do that. That's rude.
You tell him, James.
Yeah, stop. Just stop it.
Get some help.
Get some help. And apparently they also have the nickname Shadow Devils.
Hate it.
Not to be confused with Tasmanian devils. The religious items that I was just talking about can also be turned upside down, such as crosses, which is never a good sign. Or they go missing. And yeah, let me read the rest of my notes. Sorry. No, that was it. That was all I had.
Yeah, it's...
Any thoughts on demonic?
I feel like, similar to poltergeist, it's, like you said, something that's portrayed a lot in the media. So you see movies like The Exorcist or The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Things like that. And, I mean, I feel like we've done an episode on an exorcism.
We definitely haven't. What are you talking about?
Maybe... Oh, no, we talked about The Exorcist and...
Oh my god, you scared me. No. Mandela effect.
But it's... People hear those stories all the time and, like, they know, like, oh, the true story of The Exorcist. But, again, it's one of those things that doesn't happen that often. But when it does, like, I can't imagine the actual repercussions of a situation like that. Like, people talk a lot about the Annalise Michel case and her parents going to court for, like, not properly taking care of her and all that sort of stuff. But people think about cases like that as if it's so far in the past, but I don't know, I was reading about the case of the Ammons family. So they were a family in Gary, Indiana, in the U.S. Every time I think of Gary, Indiana, I think of the song from The Music Man. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. But that song is a little more cheerful than what the Ammons family experienced. But it's really one of the more bizarre and, like, complex cases of a modern possession and, like, demonic haunting that I've read about. So it basically started after they moved into a new home in 2011. So LaToya Ammons, who was the mother, she moved in with her 3 kids, who were ages 7, 9, and 12. 2 younger boys and an older girl. So she says it began with an infestation of flies. So that's a really common sign of a demonic possession. And it's not just like, oh, there's 5 or 6 flies. Like, it's swarms of flies, and it doesn't matter how many times you kill it, how many traps you put up, they keep coming back.
Hate it.
This is something that they talked about in the actual story behind The Conjuring, in the Conjuring house.
Yeah.
So this infestation of flies turned into hearing footsteps, hearing doors opening, and then it turned into seeing those full-bodied apparitions, then into the children levitating and being injured, and experiencing these awful side effects, I guess would be the term. But even, like, social workers said that the kids would have evil smiles, they would have bulging eyes, they would have really, really deep voices following home cleansings that were happening. The mother said that her 7-year-old was once thrown out of the bathroom at, like, full velocity and slammed into the wall. A headboard was broken off and thrown at her 12-year-old, and she needed stitches from it. So obviously when something like this is happening, people talk. It turned into a major court battle with the Department of Child and Family Services. Very similar to the Annalise Michel case, where people thought, obviously this mom is making this shit up, she's abusing the kids. But a social worker following the case wrote a report. You can find the report online. There's over 800 pages in this report because it was such a back and forth, and there were so many unanswered questions. But there's a report that states that the 9-year-old had walked backwards up a wall onto the ceiling.
Absolutely not.
Right? Like, kids are creepy enough as is. But
I would shoot my child. I'm so sorry.
100%. You can have more kids.
True.
But that's...
I don't want that one.
No, exactly. You can keep that one. But this led to the kids being taken out of the family home. She lost custody of all 3 of her kids. But it got to the point where exorcisms were performed on all of the kids. The house was cleansed daily, trying to get rid of these demons that they strongly felt were in this home. It has a happy ending, I guess. As of 2014, the kids were back with LaToya. They were in a new home with no further experiences, no further trauma coming from it. But, like, you can see how a demonic possession is so... It plays on so many different emotions for the people experiencing it. Yeah. Because not only is this mother dealing with, like, her kids are being injured, they're obviously not doing well emotionally because of it, but now she's dealing with a court battle. She's dealing with having her kids taken away and people blaming it on her, and there's no proof that it is or isn't her. And, like, if you're in a situation where, let's say it wasn't her, and there really is a demon in this house, it's being fueled by all of this chaos and the heavy emotions that are happening because of the things that it's doing. So it's really a really intense situation, which is freaky, if you ask me.
That was nice. That was a good story.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm feeling great tonight.
Good. I feel like we've switched roles.
I know. Any questions about demons?
No, ma'am.
Amazing.
Not from me, anyway.
Amazing. So the next type of ghost, I think, is my favorite. As weird as that is.
It's definitely the coolest.
Yeah. I mean, I was a little too excited about that. So the next type of ghost is sort of a step up from the residual haunting. So it's what people call an interactive or intelligent haunting. So if we look back on Einstein's theory that you mentioned before, everything is made up of energy. It's matter, it's energy. And anything that has a sort of creation of energy has some level of intelligence.
Yeah.
And this sort of aura that's surrounding us. And from that, we are getting all of these outputs of energy, these brain waves, a transmission of thoughts and feelings and experiences. So when our physical form is gone and no longer there, the theory in parapsychology, which is such a fascinating field, I love it.
True.
So for people who don't know, parapsychology is basically the study of the paranormal, the psychological study of what happens to the brain and the soul when the body is no longer there. Is there a soul that keeps going? So the theory for parapsychology is that that aura and that output of energy sticks around. It leaves the body, but it's still there. It's basically our soul being left. So whatever you want to call it, soul, aura, bada bing, bada boom, it's something that exists after. So this is what people normally attribute to a ghost. So being able to interact with it, unlike a residual haunting. So possibly having a conversation, being touched, being called...
Best for ghost hunters.
Yeah, being called out to, that change in temperature, a cold spot, wind coming up out of nowhere, all those sorts of things that are sort of stereotypical from a ghost hunt. And a lot of people believe that this energy sticks around because of a traumatic event. Unfortunately, something like murders, car accidents, situations where people may not be aware that they died. This was really common after the tsunami in Japan. There were a lot of, especially because the Japanese are such spiritual people, they strongly felt that there were a lot of people wandering, not understanding that they had died, and just wondering why things were changing.
Suck.
Right? Oh my God, I can't even imagine. Something like unfinished business, which personally, that's why I would stick around, out of spite. I got shit to do.
Same. I'm too nosy. I need to know what everyone's doing.
Exactly. But there can also...
You haven't visited my grave this year? I'm going to knock over your favorite mug.
Exactly. But yeah, situations like that where there's something left, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference, like I said, the difference between a residual haunting where there's that emotion left behind and an intelligent haunting is that the emotion and the energy is there, but it is where that person is reliving an experience. It is where that person is, or that energy has remembered where they are, what's going on, and the experiences that they had. So my personal favorite example of this is a really local story. So for those of you who don't know, I live in Alberta, Canada. I am about 45 minutes away from Banff, where the Banff Springs Hotel is. And it's probably one of the most notoriously haunted places in Canada. And it is
I've heard that.
It is super cool. My mom took me there when I was 5 and didn't tell me until I got out of the car. And she has pictures of me sobbing. And I refused. So we went with a family friend. I refused to hold my mom's hand. I was so mad at her for forcing me to go into this place with ghosts. Every picture is me just like super pale, wide-eyed. I'm like looking around every corner.
I hate you.
Yeah, I was like, this is the worst. Now as an adult, I'm like, sick.
This is the worst.
Yeah. One of the main stories of a haunting at the Banff Springs is a story of a guy named Sam Macaulay. So Sam Macaulay was a Scotsman who moved to Alberta when he was in his young adulthood. He worked as the head bellman in the 60s and 70s, so he was like the bellhop, the receptionist kind of guy, taking people's bags up. The thing with Sam is that people for years have been saying that since he passed, he's still working at the Banff Springs.
Oh.
And he is the nicest ghost anyone has ever interacted with, ever. He loved his job so much. He loved interacting with people. And people say that they see him putting people's bags up. Like, people's bags will be moved. My personal favorite story of Sam is these two elderly women were trying to check in. And they were having an issue with their key card. They couldn't get their door to unlock. So they came back down. And the guy that was working at the desk, so he was like, yeah, I just have to help these other guests. I'll be with you as soon as I can. So they were like, yeah, no problem. It is what it is. So 15 minutes later, this guy finally gets a chance to check in with these ladies. He goes up to where their room is and finds that their door is unlocked and they're moving their stuff in. And they were like, oh, don't worry about it. The other bellman helped us. And he was like, what? It's just me. And they were like, oh no, this man, and gave an exact description of Sam. So this man came and helped. He got the door fixed for us and he helped to move our bags in.
What a good guy.
Just so sweet.
Free labor.
But exactly, like he just loved helping people so much. So,
I wish I would love my job that much that I would do it in the afterlife.
Right?
Like, that's awesome.
Unfortunately, a lot of interactive activities are not that positive.
Nah.
I've got a lot of stories from Heritage Park, which is another haunted location not far from where I live. Yeah, that are a little more scary. People being pushed down the stairs, people being like yelled at. But yeah,
don't worry, it's just me.
Yeah. It's these ghosts that are sticking around for a purpose. And I think that's really cool. And I hope that if I ever go to the Banff Springs and someone forces me to stay overnight, the only ghost I run into is Sam. Because I don't want to meet the other ones.
So that's what we're going to do.
No.
I'm going to be the one to force you.
Oh my
to
god,
go.
Creeps and Coffee on location.
Yeah. Ooh, good idea.
No, I was kidding.
You
I was
said it,
kidding.
not me.
Oh god.
Okay, I'll change the subject
Oh, please. And I think that is the overall message of Hauntings 101. This class is really meant to encourage you to keep an open mind and pay attention to the differences between possible haunting types. If for no other reason than that it's cool. You don't have to believe any of it, but it's interesting.
Yeah, and let's hope you will never need to know any of this.
Oh my god.
And you won't have to refer back and be like, oh, is this a poltergeist?
But you know what? If any of you have any experiences with any of these types of hauntings, we would love to hear them. You can email them to us at creepsandcoffee@gmail.com.
I will read them. Caitlin will not.
She's true. That's true. You can email them to us. You can message us on Instagram or Twitter. We would love to hear your ghost stories. Like we said, we have personal ones of our own that we'd love to share someday soon. I think it'd be really cool. But we'd love to be able to throw some of your own stories in there too and get you guys more involved. So, I mean, not that I want you to experience ghost stuff because that's scary as shit, but
if you did.
but if you happen to be comfortable sharing, we would love it.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up. It's so late.
Yeah, my God, we got a little too excited about this. Well, we hope you enjoyed. Thank you for joining us on this educational adventure on the history of different ghost types.
Yeah, that's it from me.
Yeah, we are very happy to be able to share some examples with you and go through that. And yeah, we'll be back next time with something new.
A little surprise. All right.
Bye. Bye.
Love you.
Creeps and Coffee is produced and edited by us, Kate and James.
Our theme music is Stuck in a Hole by Dated.
For more information on where to find them, check out the link in our show notes. And to connect with us, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Creeps and Coffee.